So, guys, we are live. All right, so we got Kevin joining us in a few minutes. He is actually setting up right now. So, we are doing a panel. We got A.G Hayden, we got Austen Summers back from the dead joining us. He's still alive, and Kevin's going to join us in a second. I don't know. You want to kick things off with the discussion you and I were having before, Austin? Like, you're about to tell me the funniest way to set up a threesome. I think that's a good starting point for this discussion.
Okay. Yeah, we what did we talk about? We talked about we were considering shooting porn, but then we decided, or at least I've decided not to ever do that because you can make money doing anything. Why make money doing something that's not putting out value into the world? Or it's like making people more addicted. There's like you're taking the problem of male loneliness, and you can either solve it with a solution, or you can like make them just addicted to pixels. Anyway, the other thing was, the funniest way he was asking me how to have set up threesomes in the past. The funniest way I did it was actually online, and it was I was on this Americans in Mexico City. Let me see if I can pull it up. Actually, Americans in Mexico City. Triggering posts. Oh, I can't share screen, can I? Oh, I can.
You can share screen, yeah.
Okay. Well, let me.
It's not like a porn site, is it though?
No. This is a Facebook group.
Oh, okay.
Screenshot of a Facebook group because I knew I would get banned eventually. Okay, how do I do this? StreamYards. I'm not a StreamYard man like you guys.
Just go under share. Yeah, it's going to be next to settings.
How do I can only just share my whole screen or?
Yeah, well, you can share a window also.
Okay. Share screen. I have to open system. Okay, whatever. Is this? I have to like open system preferences to be able to.
Okay, do you want to just like describe it or what it is?
I'll just read it.
Okay.
So basically, I posted in this group. It's called Americans in Mexico City. These expat groups, by the way, this is kind of relevant to the topic of conversation, right? Because it's like stuff outside of the U.S. And yeah, these groups are known for being like super, just like think of like the most SJW people in the U.S., but like times like 3. That's a lot of these expat groups. They're just so silly. So anyway, I wrote in this group, and I knew this would trigger a lot of people. I just thought it'd be hilarious. My girlfriend and I are traveling to Mexico City to explore and meet some cute girls. Where's the best place to meet nutritionally disciplined girls in Mexico City? Day or night? Any spots you guys like? 180 comments in like 21 hours. Tons of reacts, like just people going off. Like #1 post in the group. Anyway, a girl from that clicked on my profile, clicked on my Instagram, and saw me post a story with my girlfriend. And I can actually pull that up. Let me pull it up. Food. And yeah, this is basically what she saw. She was like, she saw my girlfriend just eating with her, and she responded to it. She was like, "Oof, she's hot." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know." And just back and forth, met up for drinks, had a threesome. And I fucked that girl in a threesome twice in Mexico City.
Damn. That was in Mexico City?
Yeah. I would not recommend anyone go to Mexico City, by the way. Very bad.
Interesting.
Anyway. Yo, how should we structure this whole talk? Should we talk about, because the topic is dating dead in America, so.
Yeah.
I guess we can start
That's
off.
what I titled it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can start off by giving all our opinions on the subject matter. Just go in like circle, and then we can like talk about countries that we visited where we think dating is better, and then talk about the differences and whatnot.
Okay, can I start?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, I got some of these ideas on the top of my head. So the first thing you want to look at, because there literally is a study of dating markets, and they call it a market, right? Because things are interacting. It's kind of like economics in a way. So when you're looking at a dating market, there's several factors that influence it, and a lot of them don't even have to do with the person. So, and it depends on the country, but also depends on the city and the transportation network. So I'll take 2 cities, Los Angeles and Toronto. So when I lived in LA, if a girl wanted to come see me, she would have to drive like 50 minutes or more if there's traffic, like an hour and a half. She'd have to drive her car. She's depreciating her car. She has to pay for gas. She has to be like worried about hitting someone on the road or like dying. So she's like stressed out. Versus in Toronto, a girl can just hop on the subway and meet me in like, 10 minutes, just get off of the subway station. And she doesn't have to pay anything additional because they all have a monthly Metro Pass. So my dating life was better in Toronto than it was in LA. And partially that is due to transportation. If you take a place like Japan, especially Tokyo, they only have one day off a week. It's a Saturday, and everyone's competing for that day off. They have a lot of work to do. And then the subways close at midnight. The taxis are extremely expensive. So if a girl wants to come see you, she has to like either stay over or pay extremely high taxis or feel bad about making you pay for like $150 taxi or something. And she can't take the Metro back. So it's like the transportation affects it. And then there's like that, Aman, what's the name of that thing when like as nations industrialize? As nations industrialize, they change, right? What is it called? Yeah, the Kuznets curve. So like as you go down the Kuznets curve, so if you have like a developed nation like the U.S. or Western Europe or Eastern Asia, women, their education gets a lot better, and that impacts it as well, because if they have better education and they're allowed into the job market and they're like having the same roles as guys, the pool of guys that they can date that is equal or greater value than them gets smaller and smaller, and women tend to prefer guys that make more money than them or have better degrees than them, and women are dominating in education as well. So, and then there's the SJW stuff, like the whole feminism thing, and they're kind of like programmed to like dislike men. Then there's like the fact that in a dating market, you have more high value men, at least in the U.S., competing for the same women. So versus a place like Colombia, I can name a ton of countries, but Colombia is something I'm familiar with. The average guy there gets priced out of going to the gym. So they're not even like, they can't even afford to go to the gym to get jacked. They can't afford to pay for like the best quality food to get, fit. They can't afford to go out at night. They can't afford to like even bring a girl out on a date. So just by having a decent salary there, you stand out. And also keep in mind, a lot of girls in Colombia do like OnlyFans and this type of stuff. So they're like they're richer than doctors in the country. Doctors in Colombia make $5,000 a month, whereas an OnlyFans girl can make $5,000 in a day. So those are some of the factors. I don't know. I don't want to take up all the time talking about it. The last thing I'll say before I pass on to my man A.G Hayden is obesity. So obviously everyone cares. They want their partner to be you're really fat, except if they have that kink and they like to like feed their wife like cheesy potatoes all day or something. But that's actually my kink. But so obesity in the US, I think it's 52% are obese and then 12% are overweight. So like there's more obese people than overweight, which means there's like more like just like people with really high BMI. And because men care mostly about what looks, beauty, youth, low body count, this type of stuff, you're basically cutting off a supply. So let's say you have like 100 apples, and I tell you like, oh, sorry, there's 100 apples in this barrel, and let's say there's 100 people that want the apples, and then suddenly 60% of the apples are rotten. You can still kind of eat parts of it or whatever. It's like the supply of apples is smaller, so those have artificially inflated value. So a girl in the US that's like just not fat is higher value. Everyone's competing for that girl, right? So they have artificially that. Sorry, my brain's going. The last thing is now we don't have local reach with girls' beauty. You have global reach, right? So a girl and women really, they value attention. And it used to be the way you get attention was by flirting with guys or dressing well, or like, you're on the street and the guy talks to you, or sex. So it was more local. And like, you're obviously not going to fuck the old dudes in your town or like the guys that are married. But, and now that same girl has access to billionaires and famous people and hot guys all around her that can fly her out or that can come in to meet her, and she can connect with them. That's the most important thing. Just by being girl, what is girls' mating strategy these days? Film themselves being hot, and the guys reach out to them. And like, not just any guys, like they can meet like everyone. They can meet the highest value guys. They can reach out to guys themselves. Yeah, and those are some of the factors that have made it change. And I think we're going to start to see the same trends happening in America and other countries as well. So that's kind of like the layout. So I'll let you guys continue. I could talk about this for like the next 3 hours. So make it a
that leads me to a few questions actually for the panel. The first one is the SJW thing. I'm curious about your guys' opinion because I haven't left the country as much as some of you guys, but I have noticed the terms white privilege or I don't date white guys, or I've heard a lot of the feminist propaganda kind of terms come up more in interactions, or a lot of girls will ask, did you vote for Trump? And like, if you say yes, they're like, nope, not going to happen. You can't have voted for Trump. Luckily, I didn't vote, so I don't have to lie. But that stuff comes up, seems to be coming up more. I dated a girl who was very feminist. She was Asian, very feminine, but also super feminist. And one time I brought up, like, 50 Cent isn't the best looking guy. I was like, 50 Cent, he's not a great looking guy. And she's like, do you think no black men are attractive? Is that what you're saying? So out of nowhere, just because I'm a white guy saying that, right? So I think it has gone up since like 6 years ago. I never heard any of that stuff as far as I can remember. Unless maybe it's because I've been watching the red pill shit and now I just notice it more. I'm not sure which it is.
I think I don't think it's as prevalent as it seems on social media. Like if you go through my TikTok feed, it just looks like every single fucking person is a TikTok social justice warrior. But I have to like remind myself those are like kind of the exception. But yeah, I would say it has gotten more prevalent, like the whole social justice warrior, shame anyone who is white. I don't even know. It's a really bizarre culture. I think it's
Alex, just because it's like a fringe group that's the loudest speakers doesn't mean that those ideas don't like permeate into the masses, right? Because they're literally, there's a diffusion of cultural norms that just happens by listening to people and people just kind of going along with it.
I'm trying to think of like out of the girls that I bang, like how often do I see it? Maybe like 10% of the chicks. Like I do remember one chick, actually it was the Carla chick, the one that was on my video. She was like the biggest slut ever. Meaning like she had an OnlyFans. She liked to get fucked really hard. She liked to be called a slut. She liked to be called a dirty slut. She liked to be called a dirty whore. Like everything you can imagine she was into. But then she was like super social justice warrior and would like have these like outside of sex, she would have like these weird notions about like, oh, I think that all white men should be forced to stay inside. Like what? Like how does that even make sense? Like who's gonna fucking enforce that? So yeah, I would say like 10 to 20.
I kind of agree with her.
I think about like 10 to 20% of the girls I encounter might be like on that social justice warrior side, but I would say more than half or not. At least from my experience.
Yeah, but it used to be, I remember, maybe it's because I'm from a Latin city. Tucson has a lot of Mexicans. And so maybe they're just less SJW, but I never heard that when I was like 21, 22, 23. And I remember like a couple months ago, I pulled a girl from the club and she was talking about white privilege for like 10 minutes straight. And I'm like, yeah, good point. Cool. And then 10 minutes later, she asked me to choke her and was calling me daddy, right? It didn't make it harder to pull her, but it made the pull more annoying.
Yeah, that always cracks me up. Yeah. It's usually the chicks who are the most social justice warrior. They're into the kinkiest, most degrading shit ever.
Which
I want you to shit on my chest.
It kind of works, right? You have a little bit more disdain for them anyway, so you want to be more degrading.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right, real quick, I want to chime in here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I have a very beta setup today. I apologize. It's very temporary.
So I got the Sigma grind set up right now.
Yeah, dude, your setup looks legit, man.
It's not that good. I'm on
my
my buddy's place. This is just like my mood lighting that I put on at night to help me sleep.
Oh, okay. All right on.
I don't know if you guys saw. I'm very tired. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good. Nice to meet you, by the way. This is the very first time I'm meeting Austen. So, but yeah, I want to chime in a bit on the whole, is dating dead in the West? I think naturally, things are going downhill. So, my audience will know this. I'm half Japanese. And so in Japan, there's sort of this like incel epidemic happening where basically a lot of men aren't interacting with women. And it's actually so bad that the birth rate is lower than the death rate. So basically in, I think like a few thousand years at this rate, Japan will have 0 people. And you can kind of see similar trends happening, unfortunately, in the US, whether that be from how it started with the birth control pill back in the day, or how online dating sort of accelerating it. I don't know, but I will say, I've lived abroad. I've lived in Japan, Thailand, and Vietnam more specifically. And, a lot of guys will think like, oh, well, I should just move to those countries because, it's easier in the third world, I guess. I think a big thing people aren't considering, actually, Avery and I were talking about this earlier, is, the girls from the West that actually go backpack over to that area. Because the thing is, it hurts for me to say this as an Asian, technically as a half Asian, but, white girls don't really like Asian guys. So they don't really hook up with locals. So the girls that are actually backpacking or traveling there, if they're looking for a guy, they're looking for another guy who's also traveling.
All right, guys,
So
you got
that's
another
like
way
one,
to Asian
one
Max.
big hap. Yeah, what's that?
You got another
Yeah,
way
maybe
to
I shouldn't have
Asian
said
Max
that. Now it's just gonna like
Asian
once I
Max
start
white girl
traveling
in
again.
Asia.
Yeah, once I start traveling again, it's just creating competition.
You heard it here,
But,
Black Pillars.
Let me give kind of like my perspective. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this. I don't think it's completely dead. Like, I don't think it's nearly as dead as the Black Pillars make it out to be, but I think it's not nearly as good as it was 10 years ago. I can definitely speak with my own experience. I think the biggest thing that's changed is the flaking has just gotten insane. Like, to the point where it's just like, it's laughable. It's just like, I have to set up like 20 dates to get one chick to show up. Like, the flaking is insane, and like excuses are getting more and more bizarre by the day. It's like, oh, I couldn't come because, I don't know, global warming. I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? So I don't know. I mean, I think that you can definitely still do quite well in the West. I think a big part of it is also what city you live in, because I think all America is not the same. A place like Miami is going to be way harder than a city like Cincinnati or Albuquerque or like a second tier city. So I think those cities are still quite good. But first tier cities like Miami, LA, they're going to be a fucking struggle, unless of course you're a celebrity or you have some kind of status or fame, in which case it's still easy mode. I think if you're like I don't know, like fucking Avicii, well, Avicii's dead. If you're I don't know, like any kind of mainstream celebrity figure, like even if you're like just a singer, like what's that dude, Raw Alejandro, whatever the fuck his name is, like I think he's doing a tour in the US recently. Like, that guy's gonna bang a whole bunch of girls. We were talking to this one chick a few days ago. Diplo apparently DM'd her. So like, those guys are not struggling to get pussy at all. But for everyone else, it's a fucking grind, I think. Yeah, I will definitely acknowledge that.
I don't think it's that hard to get laid now. I pulled like 3 times last week. It was not difficult to do, like going to the clubs.
But you're A.G. Hayden, though.
Well, yeah, I go out a lot, but I have a lot of clients who get laid all the fucking time too, and many of who are, they're not super good looking. They're not.
Well, how do I get laid without going out? That's my question.
Huh? No, they get laid by going out, but not by online dating. I think online dating has gotten worse over the years. I think in person, I think the percentage of girls that I would actually want to date has gone down, but getting laid isn't really much harder. I'd say that's still pretty easy, but it's less often that I meet a girl I really like want to date.
Where do you live?
I'm in Vegas right now, which is not somewhere where you meet a lot of girls you'd want to date. Honestly, personally, I'd say like in general, I think the best women for me are Latina women usually, like because they have the femininity, but they also have strong personalities.
Yeah. Avery, do you find that cold approach numbers have gotten more flaky or no?
Well, I'm in Vegas, right? So it's kind of that's a different world, right? So if I was in a normal city, I would be able to compare, but in Vegas you get more flakes because of tourists.
What about when you were like visiting in Miami? Did you find like the phone numbers that you were getting were more flaky? Or
no, I got a couple dates from 1-minute interactions actually in Miami.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I would say from cold approach, my results have been pretty good recently as well.
Maybe I should start doing.
Sorry, this topic is dating dead in America, but in the West, because I was in Spain as well, which is I guess Western Europe. But yeah,
it might be possible. So because of COVID, everyone was locked down for so long that they may have lost the ability to go out and approach. There may be less men doing that than ever before.
COVID was the best time for me. I was crushing it with dating apps on COVID. I was like,
I believe that.
Yeah, dude, it was like fucking epic. Like, I actually miss those days, honestly.
I think there may be less competition in real life because so many more people went to online dating.
Yeah, there's one factor we didn't discuss, and that's that. Yeah, people are getting more isolated in general, from not online dating, but the cell phone apps, like all these kind of streaming services, this type of stuff. I also think, Alex, this is like an undervalued part of like why girls are so flaky these days, is that there's like, you have 300 apps on your phone. It's like she has 5 dating apps, and then where is she going to talk to them? Snapchat, Instagram, messages, whatever.
Yeah.
I actually created a CRM, which is, for those who don't know, it's a customer relationship management software, but for dating. And I give it to my students so they can track exactly where the girls are on, like what platform they're on, and then they have like a funnel system, so it's like they can drag them across the board for it.
I think everyone should do that. I do that as well. It's probably different, but I have a similar thing.
You could call it your to-do list.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm confused. How does this work? You have what? You track
I would
what
share
apps
it, but
they
the
go
software
on?
sucks. Basically, so a CRM is like, for example, for sales, you go like, let's say you're selling like a $10,000 software. You're like, these are people to reach out to. I reached out to this person once. I need to follow up. And then you just drag them across that board. And then it's like sales call done, no show up, or they showed up, but they didn't buy, and then they bought. And so you can just drag the different like clients.
Got it.
Yeah. Customer relationship management, but girl relationship management.
Yeah.
You know what I'm thinking is a big factor why, for example, I'm saying it's more fucked and you guys saying it's less fucked. I think the difference is that you guys do a lot more cold approach and I do a lot more online. So we're just seeing a different side of it. So, for example, if I was doing a lot more cold approach like you guys, I might have a different perspective. I mean, I still bang tricks from cold approach here and there, but it's like few and far in between. You want to hear my dating?
I'm the same way. I do mostly online. So
you want to hear my my strategy for the next year moving forward? My dating strategy.
Let's hear it.
It's pretty interesting. I haven't actually unveiled it publicly yet, so it's like super. It's fairly tacky, but okay. Right now, I'm getting my Instagram verified. Should be another week or two. Once I get the Instagram verified, I'm gonna start posting a lot of thirst trap photos because I've been training really hard, and well, there's some other stuff going on there. And so I'm gonna post a lot of thirst trap photos right on the verified Instagram account, and then I'm gonna start sliding in DMs. But because I have the blue check mark, I'm going to finally, slide in them DMs, and that's what I'm going to be doing. And then furthermore, I've already outsourced all my messaging to a whole team of people. So I'm not going to have to do any of my own messaging. They're going to do all my texting, all my text game for me. So all I'm going to have to do is show up and fuck the chicks.
For the people listening
that's awesome.
that don't understand what the value is of the blue check mark, besides being it's cool, is that if you message someone, it goes directly to their primary folder. So you don't get trapped in this like requests folder. Like almost everyone has 3 folders for their Instagram, and the last folder you can sort by newest or you can sort by top. So it's like she has to like go into the 3rd folder, hit sort by newest, and then tap on your non-verified ass and talk to you. So
yeah, I mean, also it just puts you in a completely different league. Like honestly, I don't have like any direct friends who have verified. I have friends of friends who have like, blue check marks, and they all say the same thing. Like my dating life just completely transformed. I mean, it's pretty fucking nuts how like one little fucking digital bite can just like make such a difference. But
I just saw the dumbest question. Alex, doesn't sliding in DMs lower your value?
No. I mean, I don't.
I never approach girls because I don't chase.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Sigma male grind set right there.
Yeah. I have a $1 trillion mindset right here, bro. I tip my landlord.
I tip my landlord.
So what do you guys think? I want to transition this a little bit because when it comes to is dating in the West dead? Keep in mind everybody on this panel, like we're successful in our dating lives to the point where basically all 3 of you guys like teach it as your main thing, right? So naturally, I think there's going to be a little bit of a blind spot because, if you're successful in your dating life, maybe you're not going to notice it as much as opposed to, I'm sure you guys hear the whole 80-20 thing. I mean, who knows how accurate that exactly is, but I think, do you guys agree that for most guys, dating has become a lot tougher, and maybe for the top guys, it's become easier in the sense that they're able to get more girls, especially in the society that we live in now where, polygamy is way more sort of accepted, polyamory, and monogamy is becoming a little bit less than the norm. I still say it's more the norm for most people, but we're a lot more sexually liberated now. And I think what ends up happening with that is a lot of the fuckboy guys end up getting a lot more girls. And then a lot of other guys were otherwise, let's say this was like the 30s or 40s, where they would get married up with a girl on their, if we're going to put it in manosphere terms, SMV level. So let's say they're like a 40th percentile guy in terms of value, and a 40th percentile woman will get matched up, decades ago. But then now that 40th percentile woman is trying to chase after, Mr. top 10% Chad. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? Because that's what's very heavy within the manosphere.
I think I got the question. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so basically, like, I can rephrase the question. So what do you guys think of that? Do you think dating is easier for the top guys, and do you think it's a lot harder for the vast majority of guys who are
dating will always be easier for the top guys? It doesn't matter what point in history. There's like, they've done like these studies of like ancient Egypt, and it's like the wealthiest guys had like fucking 14 girls on average or something ridiculous like that. And then, it's just human beings. We exist in a hierarchy. People that are retarded always refers to alpha and beta, when in reality, in human beings, there's a hierarchy, and that hierarchy exists within different girls' minds as well. So for some guys, for some girls, when they look at a guy, he could be her personal 10, and then for another girl, it's like, whatever, a 5 or something, or a guy that she would never like reproduce with, basically, right?
Yeah.
So it depends on but your question was, some guys are getting laid more. Yeah, I think there is definitely a divergence of that. In evolutionary terms, 85% of guys typically can find a mate. However, I think it's getting worse and worse, because more guys are just going to start getting into the metaverse. People are hooked on porn. So you can either, addict yourself more. You can either connect with pixels on a screen, or you can either connect more with women in real life. Obviously, there's gray area there, but in general, that's true. And guys that get super addicted to porn, they have it kind of distances them from relationships in real life. They're going to get pushed further and further away. And for a lot of those guys, I would just say, fuck it, go to a third world country. And by the way, the term third world doesn't even make sense. Third world, that's actually from Mao. I think it's the first world was the Allied nations, second world was Soviet nations, or the Soviet Allied, and third world was everyone else. And that term doesn't mean anything. If you go to Los Angeles, people are like, oh, Los Angeles is a third world country. No, I've lived in third world countries. Los Angeles is infinitely worse than third world countries for a variety of reasons. It's like you see like crazy people on the street. Anyway, I'm getting off the point. Yes, women always want to date the top guys. If from my perspective, this is the mindset I have now. If I meet a girl, I want every single step along the way for her to just validate to herself that I'm a winner. When I meet her and I approach her with confidence, I look good, I smell good, I approach her, my voice is good, my eye contact is good. I'm not too intense. I'm not too, calm. It's like just a balance of everything, right? She meets me. She's like, this guy's a fucking winner. And we strike it off a conversation. Things are going well. I know how to seduce. I know how to be, make it sexual. I know how to lead her home. And then what do I lead her home in? A nice Tesla. Why not? Bring her to my place. My place is nice. Oh shit, this guy has like healthy food here. He has, good hand soap. He's not some fucking retard that puts like synthetic phthalate, onto his skin. He eats healthy. He has an awesome dog that greets me at the front door that like licks my face and my nose. I bring him to the bedroom. He fucks the shit out of me. I'm just like brain dead after he fucks me. And I'm just like, oh my God. And then, I bring her out for a nice meal. I put her on my Instagram. She like gets, I take photos of her. She puts those photos on her Instagram. She gets like the most likes ever. Maybe if she's not in my city, I'll fly her out. If she is in my city, I take care of her. I make sure that we have great times together. We go out hiking. We're not just being faggots that stay in the city all the time. We go out in nature. We do stuff at the beach. We go and have a variety of experiences. She gets to meet my friends. She gets to see, like, be a part of my life. Every step of the way, she's like, holy fuck, this guy's the winner, right? There's no, so, and I've gone to this point after like, dude, I was fucking like an autistic faggot, like when I was 18, and now, about a decade later, like it took me that amount of time to build this value. Now, one of the things that you said is you like dating Latinas, and that you find that they're, a little bit more feminine, this type of stuff. I think we can all agree about that. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I would say that's a difference between the US and other countries is that, thanks, Jennifer Grace, who is a real woman, is that in those countries, you'll date girls that they're not going to ever split the bill with you. They're basically like fully feminine, where they just like, they want the man to take charge, but in that requires responsibility. You have to pay to take the girl out on the date. You have to pay for her transportation. If you want to like date her long term and she wants to like move out of her parents, you have to like support her basically. Or teach her a way to make money. Like my buddy David Bond, he's taught like a lot of his girls how to make money online, so that way they can self-sustain. They leave their shitty jobs and they have more free time to hang out with him. And then in the West, you have girls that, they're going to be more intelligent, they're going to be more sharp on the ball, have better wit, or be able to connect with you better, speak your language perfectly, and they're the kind of woman that you'd want to like merge and kind of marry more, I guess, in a certain way, because they have that cultural familiarity. But in the West, you're searching for the girl that has femininity, whereas in other countries, you're searching for like the smart girls that just, it's harder to find smarter girls outside the US in a lot of these different countries, but some countries are fucking awesome, like Romania or Ukraine or these types of places. You're going to find girls that are both smart and feminine, which is
FYI,
like,
don't go to the Ukraine right now.
Dude, perfect. I actually went there. It was amazing. No, dude, actually in Europe, so all the Ukrainians went to Poland, and then they kind of fled into other countries. Yeah. So when we were in Barcelona, we met quite a few Ukrainians.
Yeah.
And anyways, I don't want to take up the stream, but I'm kind of like, I have that like, when you're like about to pass out and you're like,
second wave. So one thing you were saying is it's a very common red pill argument that like now the top 1% is getting all the women. I don't think the top 1% is getting that many more women than they were 20 years ago, because like a rapper 20 years ago was still fucking 300 girls in 1 year if he wanted to.
I would disagree with that, Avery.
What's that?
I would just respectfully disagree with that.
Well, how so?
Yo, I'm sorry, guys, I'm so sorry. I wanted to finish the point that if you're in the US and you're kind of down that dominance hierarchy, if you go to another country, you are instantly higher on the dominance hierarchy. Right? Remember I was saying like other countries, they often get priced out of going to the gym.
Yeah, it's called sexual
arbitrage. So if you take a guy who's like, he's top, let's say he's 40th percentile, if you calculate everything, game, looks, money, status, social circle, mindset, he's not measuring skull sizes and this type of thing. If you take him and you move him down to like, Colombia or El Salvador or something like this, he's going to be top 5% pretty much, right?
Yeah, man, that's called sexual arbitrage. Yeah, it's a real.
I call it penis arbitrage.
Penis arbitrage.
You take your penis from an area of relative lower value to an area of relative higher value.
What I was saying, Avery, is that technology has changed the game. So 20 years ago, those rappers or whatever, the top guys, they how could they meet girls? Well, they could meet them at bars, they could meet them through fan mail, but technology and Instagram has changed the game. Now they're just got pussy coordinators lining up fucking appointments for them, and they're doing 3-4 girls a day. It's completely different now with Instagram and all that. Yeah, I think technology has changed it.
I'm sure that's true. I mean, even Wayne Gretzky, like he got 5,000-10,000 women before Instagram. Like someone's famous, if they want to get a ton of chicks, they could get a ton of chicks. It's easier, so there's probably more of them doing it. But also, like the vast majority of that is just a one-night stand, right? It's not like they're dating that guy long term. They can only date a few girls, maybe 10 girls, 20 girls max at one time that are actually committed to them. It's not like all the girls are being taken by famous people. I think that's kind of ridiculous.
I don't think they're being taken by
famous people around.
Yeah, I don't think they're being like all taken by famous people. That's like a pretty extreme claim. I think that sometimes though a small change in the marketplace can ripple through and make a big difference, right? It's like the ripple effect. So a few more guys at the top fucking a few more girls can ripple down and result in noticeably less girls for the bottom, whatever, 50-60%. Like a girl's not gonna fuck, like, think about it, like a girl, unless, I mean, there's some girls that will, but most girls are not gonna fuck like a new guy every single day. So if she gets fucked in, June, she might not get fucked until July or whatever, right? Again, she might not sleep with the next guy. So while they might not be dating the those dudes, just by the virtue of them getting fucked by them, they might take a break from like Tinder or going to bars for like 2-3 weeks, and then they get horny again. They do it, right? So I think
there's another side to it though, because the bell curve of men is there. Like the top 1% has more access, but everyone else is like more basically beta than ever, right? The average man is weaker, less likely to actually like approach a woman.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? They leave the house less. So there's less competition in the majority of guys give less competition. The top 1% give more competition. And I think that kind of evens it out.
I'm
what's something
curious.
that's
Do you
really-
guys
oh,
know?
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna say, do you guys know what statistics there are for like, let's say like the bottom, I don't know, 40% of women? Because my speculation is, especially because Austin, you brought this up a while ago of how so many more guys are watching porn, staying at home. I think a lot of guys' expectations of what they want to find in a girl are sort of heightened based on what they see in pornography. And so if because look, like let's say that you're, again, if we're just breaking it down to a sexual marketplace and just being complete nerds about it, like let's say that some guy is like a 30th percentile guy. Well, he should, if everything's equal, he should be matched up with a 30th percentile girl. The average girl, 50th percentile in the US, is overweight, is obese, right? So basically, a 30th percentile girl with a 30th percentile guy, it should be that guy with a fat girl, right? But none of these guys want fat girls, obviously, because
Is he not a fat
that's
guy?
not very, yeah. So automatically, I think the obesity epidemic, which affects both sexes, but particularly because men tend to find physical attractiveness more important when it comes to women than women to men. I know that's a controversial thing to say in the age of the black pill, but I think we all agree that that's true. So you combine that with the expectations that men have with the pornography that they're constantly consuming. I think a lot of these guys are naturally checking out, because otherwise they should be happy to be with a fat girl, right?
So I have an
I
argument with that.
Mhm.
I have a bit of an argument with that a lot of men, they might not prefer fat women, but they'll still date fat women, right? They'll still take what they can get. Didn't you do a study where you had like a fat chick on Tinder and she got like tons and tons of dates, no problem?
Yeah, she was a beast. Yeah. But I will say that, like, with myself, I do notice that, like, my standards have become progressively higher. Like, before, like, I don't know, like 6, 7 years ago, maybe like 7, 8 years ago, the girl just had to be like not super tall, not super ugly, and like in good shape. Like, now I'm like, okay, I need a big set of tits, big ass, like all these requirements. So a lot of girls are getting screened out. So that is true. I think, yeah. I mean, definitely my standards have like gotten skewed by, I don't know. I don't even know what, because I don't even watch porn that much. So not sure.
This guy says a 30th percentile guy is also far more likely to be fat, though. I agree. Like, girls don't want a fat guy. However, the thing is, with guys, it's less about your looks. It's more about your behavioral cues, because those are far more likely to predict your ability to procure resources for a woman and her children. How you look is also important, right? Because those are the genetic and physical cues of who you are. And that's important too. But the main thing for girls, like, everyone has seen a stunning girl with like a less than attractive guy. And usually that guy, if you meet that guy and you talk to him, I'm actually going to do a video about this pretty soon. I just want to like interview couples and like see how.
Oh, dude, I've been wanting to do that too. That's funny you say that.
First
up
two. Let's see who gets it first.
Go up to, yeah, my idea was to go up to like couples where the guy's like kind of ugly, the chick is super hot, and ask them like,
"Whoa,
hey,
you're batting out of your league. How'd you get her?"
Yeah, well, basically in a nicer way, but yeah.
Yeah, and also
Seekingarrangements.com.
There's a point where it's like the closer you get to survival setting, women and men revert to their gender roles, right? The further away you get from survival, the more they kind of get more equal, where men become like there's the second mothers, and the woman works, and yeah. And it's also, I feel like part of the thing, you're talking about standards for girls and like how they become more specifically, they became more unique. And I'm sure they're not all physical, right? A lot of them are about the personality of the girl, and not just like, oh, what is she like or whatever. But it's like, is she more of a saver or a spender? Is she a touchy person or a non-touchy person? Is she like, does she want to go out and work and be kind of like more independent? Or do you want a girl that just like you take care of everything, and then she can just like be the feminine homemaker that like gives you children? And I've dated a variety of girls, and the girls I tend to like the most are like the meme version of it is called trad wife. Like, I like women that they want to like raise their children. They also have passions and and they would probably work, after the kids are, a certain age, but
Yeah,
they
listen.
want to raise kids. Like they're super feminine. Every time they see a baby, they're like, and also like, I love girls that dance for me, right? That are like this chick I actually was in Miami a couple days ago. This chick I put on music and I'm like, can you dance for me? She just starts like dancing and like moving her body and smiling and just like, oh, dude, it was better than sex, honestly. It's like, you don't get that amount of femininity, right? And she like, dude, she's like doing facial treatments for me. Like, oh, especially in South America too, the femininity you experience. It's
And
like
was she
women
Latina
will
or
just
what?
take your they'll clip your nails, dude. They just like pamper you and just like love you in every possible way.
Was that girl Latina or
That girl is a Latina, yeah, Dominican.
So there was one thing you were asking about statistics, Kevin. There is one that is pretty crazy. 29% of men between the ages of 18 and 35 in America, and this is 2018, so the year before COVID, did not have sex a single time. Not a single time, 29%. And you have to keep in mind about 50% are in relationships, and they're hopefully having sex at least once. I mean, some of them maybe a few times, right? So that means of the other half, the majority did not have sex. The majority of men did not have sex. And if you go back 15 years, it was, I believe, 9%. So it went up from 9% to 29%, which is pretty crazy.
Damn.
Wow. So basically, more than half of single guys haven't gotten laid within the past year, you said?
From 2018 to 2019, it's probably more post-COVID, if anything.
Yeah.
This is self-reported statistics?
That's pretty depressing.
I imagine, yeah.
Because if it's self-reported, you would imagine it would be even worse because the guys are lying like, oh, yeah, I got laid 6 months ago. Yeah, so you see a lot of guys like capping.
Even if it is self-reported, that means that it's actually probably worse than it
that's
really
what
is,
I'm saying, yeah.
right? Yeah. I mean, that explains the explosion of the black pill within the past, I don't know, year or two. It's insane. It's extremely concerning. It really is.
Can I speak? May I speak again, please? Do I have permission?
Go ahead, man.
No.
You're like, fuck, another 15-minute Austin rant. The other thing is dating's become more complex, right? If you ask people where they met in the past, it's mostly through school or work, right? Now there's so much remote work, right? So people aren't working in big like industrial buildings as much as they used to. And the dating became more complex. Like even for online dating, I don't know how to share, but if you guys go to my Instagram, Austen Summers, I posted this thing. It's like a meme of these cats, and it's like divorced men over 40 looking for love on online dating, and they're all just like people don't know how to take photos of their face. They don't know how to get good pro photos. They don't know like how to test things on Photo Feeler, edit with Photoshop, Lightroom, Face App. They don't know how to do any of that. So they're basically just super unattractive in all their photos. Alex, you have a shit ton of good material on that, right? With like what makes a good photo. So like even from that perspective, and then for Instagram, what do I put on the Instagram? What do girls want to see? Like they don't know what's attractive. They don't know what attractive qualities are, so they don't know how to showcase them. And because like remember, most people are just like NPCs. They're just like booping and bopping and 0-1s going through their head during the day. And that's in the past, they would just like find some other booping and bopper and they just get together and put some babies in each other and call it a day. Like for one approach, one kill, one lay, and call it a day. But nowadays too, it's just tougher. It's tougher to meet people, right? And it's funny because in big cities, it's often like harder to meet people in general too. Because people are less friendly, they're more busy, and people are living more in cities.
That's a great point that you brought up there with everybody working more remotely now. I think you mentioned that you've been in Japan before and the cities. That's exactly how Tokyo is. Tokyo has, I think it's the biggest metropolitan area in the entire world. I mean, it's a huge space. It's not like super dense or anything like New York, but you see tons of people, none of them interacting with each other. It's actually very sad and it's very concerning because, the same things that like you see in Japan, that is starting to happen in the West, in the US. And I don't know. Maybe it's going to get worse. Who knows? I mean, hopefully not, but
Yeah. And if you guys are listening to this right now, let that be a fucking wake up call. It's like, do you want to be, dude, this is the funniest comment I've ever read. This guy says
you can click it and bring it up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If you click it, it'll come up on screen. Yeah.
Okay. I'm clicking it, but nothing's happening. Maybe it's because I have a Brave browser. but he said it's over for boop/bop cells. like incels, but boop bop cells.
I don't see.
Dude,
let that be a wake-up
the
call. It's
black pill
like,
community is quite hilarious. You say what you want about them, but they're really funny.
I don't get it, Alex. Are you like a black pill leader now, or what's happening?
He did a bunch of debates with him, and now
Definitely not. Yeah, they really
just take
don't
over
like
the chat.
Yeah, they don't like me. No, definitely not. I mean, I just go through phases where I debate different groups of people. Now I'm debating like the TikTok social justice warriors. I was actually thinking that dude. I don't know if you guys watched that, like the TikTok dude that debated, the super awkward guy.
Weird guy.
He's so fucking weird. But I was thinking, he says he's married, and I was just like, how the fuck did this guy like get a girl? Like that guy's so fucking awkward. His energy was so weird. He just stares at the screen like this, and it's just like the whole time for 2 hours.
Maybe that's it. He has really good eye contact. That's what it is.
It's
Dude,
really,
Alex, every time I talk to you, you're debating a new color of pill. And you're just like, aren't you understanding what the orange pillars are talking about? And I'm like, what are you, dude? I'm like in a waterfall right now.
Yeah, there's a few black pillars just saying, I like you, Alex. And then you're cool, Alex. You will see the black pillars. They haven't given up hope on me yet. They're
Dude,
like,
the biggest thing, I listened to your debate with Wheat Waffles today while I was going through Whole Foods.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it reminds me of myself in the past. Not that I was a black pillar, but I had like ideas about the world and stuff. And that dude was like 20. And I was like, the stuff that he said, I physically have cringed at various moments. It is like the ultimate form of being a faggot. You're just like, well, my cranial circumference isn't big enough, so I'm just gonna have to fuck prostitutes for the rest of my life. Like, what? And your point, you were like, what if you just like, isn't like some sex with women better, even if you have to work for it harder than the average guy? Oh my god, dude. I felt like my IQ
I honestly
went down
think
by 17
the
points,
blue
man.
pill SJW dude was even more cringe, in my opinion. Like Wheat Waffles, at least he like seemed to somewhat be able to hold a conversation. The SJW dude, he was like completely socially retarded. Like he just had zero social skills. Like I would ask him a question, and he would sit there for 20 seconds, and then he would reply with, "Wow, aren't we comparing apples to oranges?" I was like, "What the fuck are you even talking about? I'm trying to make a goddamn logical analogy here, bro."
Oh my god,
dude, his accent was like a mix between an SJW and like a Southerner. It just didn't match.
It doesn't compute.
Wrong.
And dude, the way the podcast ended was so funny. Was just him like, I was like, yeah, man, I give you props for coming on. Most of the other TikToks are pussies, they won't do it. He's like, or you could just ignore them. Peace. And then he turned off. It was the most awkward.
So I got another question I can't bring up. It's which is better in today's world, in-person cold approach or online approach? I'll say for me, if I didn't coach any programs, the only type of game I would do is day game throughout my day as I'm going about my day, not going out of my way to do it. And then the other one would be seeking arrangement and Instagram. Yeah, because I don't have time to sit on like a dating app. Boop, 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 boop. Like the flake race that you're describing, I don't want to deal with. I want girls to be like, I like girls. I like photos. I want to fuck you. Let's go. And then you just meet them. And you screen out, obviously, the girls that are like, I'm a seasoned sugar baby and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Should I not talk about this?
Pretty high flake rate. It's a little lower, but it's still fairly high.
So I'm actually kind of curious about that because I found like the types of girls that they get paid for their looks. I found most of them are kind of obnoxious. They can be really hot, but I found most of them are kind of obnoxious, like strippers and cocktail waitresses. Like they tend to be pretty toxic and just like shallow in my experience. And so seeking arrangement, I've never really tried to use it, but I would think it would just be that type of chick.
So first of all, I want to ask Alex, should we talk about this or is this going to be bad?
No, we can talk about it.
Okay. So yeah, basically you want to screen for girls that are younger. You want to screen for girls that are obviously they live close to you. You want to screen for girls that they just put in what they're looking for, like emotional connection. I just want to meet a successful man. Like, dude, I saw one girl's profile. She was like, I just want to meet a successful guy that I can fully submit to. And I was like, oh my God.
Sounds good.
She was like, I want a traditional, like, I want to eventually get married. I'm looking for something traditional. I don't like modern gender roles. I think they're fucking retarded. And I was just like, oh my God. So some girls on there are pretty based.
She's like, yeah, this is the best profile ever.
Dude, Alex, I was going to tell you this. The only way I can do online dating is if I'm jerking off while I do it. I don't know if anyone's done this, but like I literally, I'll be like looking at the photos. She messages back. She's like, maybe we'll see. And I'm like, oh my God. And then like I go back and message her more, dude. And then I'm like messaging girls back and forth, and I'm just like fantasizing in my head. And then eventually I do meet them, and then I fuck them, and then yeah. But dude, especially in Thailand, dude, I would just like I would be on Tinder just like jerking off, and then a girl would come over, bang her, and like go back on Tinder. Dude, I have some form of sex addiction. It's bad. But
wait,
sorry,
are you kidding about the jerking off to the profile?
I am not joking, dude.
Oh, you actually
don't fucking call me out on your stream, Alex. Okay, I'm gonna debunk you, bro. I got the facts. I got the data. Yo,
but how do you jerk off for that long? Like sometimes it takes hours to set up a date.
Dude, I have jerked
how
off.
do you not get like fucking like arthritis or something? like
you're talking to, dude. I every time I have sex, I'm like, I am some kind of sexual deviant. Like sex for me doesn't end like it ends when the girl goes, sorry, my pussy hurts too much. And then I'm like, okay, sorry.
Wait, so you were jerking off to the Tinder pictures? I'm confused. Or you're like jerking off?
So while talking to her, the stuff that we're talking about, and also keep in mind, I'm only talking to girls that are super feminine, that are with the program, that have read my bio and know what I'm about. The things you screen for are girls that are looking for emotional connection. They're young. They're not like super fucking whorish. They're newer on the site. They just want to meet a successful guy. And to be honest, for me, I'm a successful guy. I don't have fucking time to talk to these girls like all day long, right? What I do have time for is the girl goes like 5 to 10 messages in a row and then we meet up, right? She needs to understand that I don't have time. I'm fucking doing a podcast, sales calls. I'm talking to, I'm hiring an assistant, talking to my whatever. I have shit to do, right? So that's why I like Seeking, is because the girls on there, they know how to treat successful men more so, I will say.
Yeah,
Kevin.
All right, look at this.
You're living with Avery now, right? Or you're staying with Avery, or you're living back in?
I am until Friday, and then I'm moving into an Airbnb.
Dude, Arnold Schwarzenegger called you up.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
I mean, the Airbnb I'm moving into costs $3,000 for the month, so I don't like. Sure, yes, I live with my parents. I mean, look, like the thing that I do is I live a traveling lifestyle, right? So, like right now I'm in Vegas, and then eventually I'm going to be traveling again. I don't know. Like, should you be living with your parents indefinitely? Probably not.
Yeah, I would say
unless you come from like a traditional Asian family or something. But I mean, hey, thanks for the super chat, man. Even though like that was just a personal attack, that's fine. If you think I'm a loser,
I think he was actually legitimately might be just like kind of curious. I mean, like the first part of it is like, yeah, definitely you don't want to like stay with your parents for a long period of time. But I stayed with my mom for 4 months when I was creating the PWF product because I just needed to focus on shit. So if you're like doing it for a period of time with a reason, like you're trying to like focus on something, I think it's fine. But if it's like an indefinite type of thing, then I think that's a different issue.
Yeah.
Dude, the comments here are so stupid. I love it.
They will only get stupider. Don't worry.
I think supernatural black guy. All right.
What does that even mean?
That's the problem when like your audience gets bigger and bigger. It's just like the amount of retards that enter it are just like,
yeah,
it just grows more and more.
You have to get to a more mainstream audience eventually, and it's going to get worse.
Yeah, that's definitely going to happen.
Here's the thing: the smart people tend not to comment that much.
We need more naturals, not these tryhards. So if you start from nothing and then learn the entire process to get somewhere, and then you talk to someone who's starting from nothing, who do you think has a more valuable perspective? The guy that started from nothing and built everything, or the guy that was just never had to work on it because
I agree with that.
Like imagine the natural. The natural is going to be like, just be me, bro.
Imagine you're looking for a therapist and you get the one. Yeah, I've always been really happy. I've never had anxiety, never had depression, never struggled with it. But I got you. I know how to help you with your shit. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. Whenever I like
naturals give the worst advice. They're just
no. Actually, it makes perfect sense because a lot of these guys, they're looking for some sort of daddy online, right? They want this like no, I'm serious. They want this like archetypal like superhero guy, right? So half these guys, you see if they have anime thumbnails, they naturally like jerk off and simp to this like superhero archetype. So like they're automatically going to like simp for those types of guys that seem like they have no flaws at all. But actual reasonable people that want to like learn and get better, they tend to relate to people who actually struggled and then found a way to actually get better.
I really hope there's no one beating off to my videos or my photos. That would be bizarre.
This guy's asking my tips on pro photos, like the ones on my Instagram, blah, 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 blah. Basically, you can literally just use your cell phone. The content of the photo matters more than the quality of the photo. And what you want to think about is things like composition. Like if I were to point out who has the best composition here, it'd be Alex, right? What does he have in the background? He's got like a mini bar there. He's got like lights and he's got like a cool couch and setup and whatever. It's like there's other stuff going on in the photo. So think about that. Like you could take it, like if I take a photo sitting here in a chair, it just looks like I'm like an IT nerd, like, hello, can I help? But, you know, if I'm sitting on a chair and it's on the beach, there's a different composition. So there's different things like that. Equipment, you could just use your phone. Phones are good enough nowadays. However, if you want a really good shallow depth of field with like a natural bokeh, you should get a pro camera, or at least a decent camera. You get like an A6500 by Sony. Put a 1.4 or 1.8 a lens on there, 50 millimeter lens for your face. You don't need
like
soft boxes or
$1,500.
reflectors. All you need to do is wait till it's golden hour. Or if it's cloudy, you can go out and take photos at any time because diffused lighting is what looks best. Then, edit in Lightroom. Literally just need to hit the auto button or adjust it slightly. Photoshop, take out all your flaws. You can remove people from the photos. I wish I could show this photo right now. It was a photo of me on a camel. And basically, there was so much shit in the photo. There was like cables and wires and like some fucking Pakistani guy pulling the camel along. I removed all of that, so it literally just looks like I'm on the camel in the middle of the desert. And then beyond that, then you use FaceApp. You don't go too aggressive with it. You just want to improve your appearance by like 5%. And sometimes the changes are imperceptible, so that you can only tell them if you like kind of label the photo file. And you can test it. You can put it on photofeeler.com and have girls rate the photo. There obviously are some issues with that. Is it hot Latinas with big ass and big tits rating all the photos, or is it just some fucking random chick, some average chick? But in general, I have found that the photos I put up there, you know, if 40 votes on it are all from girls and my photo gets a 9.2, what does that mean? That means I look hot in the photo, right? Or the photo is great. And then if I put a photo up,
Photo Feeler?
Yep.
Huh?
Are you talking about Photo Feeler?
Yeah. And then if I put a photo up there and it gets like a 3 or a 4, you know, it might not be the end of the world because they're only seeing an individual photo, whereas a wide variety of photos on a profile could be good. For example, my Instagram, I have a photo of me in a helicopter. It's not the best photo in the world, but the fact that I'm in a helicopter in combination with all the other photos is cool. Right. So she already knows I look pretty attractive. I've got a pretty good physique. And then, yeah. Actually, my league count right now is 12,000.
This is really down. I'll get there.
Who's that? There's a basketball player that fucked like 15,000.
Oh,
Yeah,
Will
Wayne Gretzky.
Will Chamberlain.
Will Chamberlain. Yeah, my bad.
Wayne Gretzky, bro. Did you say Wayne? What sport did Wayne Gretzky play? A.G Hayden.
Yeah, I was more of a Halo guy than a sports guy. I think it was like in the 10,000 plus range for that guy, Will Chamberlain.
Now, in your guys' opinion,
my strike drive is honestly not that high. Like, I think it's average to below average. Like, for me, fucking like 2 new girls a week is like more than sufficient.
Well, I heard when you take TRT, right, Alex?
I do take TRT, yeah.
So I heard that
right
skyrockets your.
It did not for me, honestly. My sex drive was like pretty average before, and it's like pretty average now.
Well, I think the reason that technically the reason that it would skyrocket is because your free testosterone goes up. So your total testosterone isn't necessarily a good indicator of your like libido, how much muscle you build, because it binds to something called SHGB. Yeah. I'm not going to nerd out here, but basically when you have exogenous testosterone through TRT, it most especially boosts your free testosterone. So.
Yeah, well, since I got on TRT, like my free testosterone is like through the roof too. But I think there's a lot more to libido and sex drive than just testosterone. I think that's just like one of the factors. There's a whole like cascade of hormones and other factors that I think can't even really be explained by a blood test. So just because
you can also take that. It's that whole thing of sexual transmutation, right? It's like making love to your work instead. Like so, Freud, for example, apparently like the last 30 years, he like refused to have sex with his wife because he wanted to like maintain all of that energy for his work. Yeah. So I mean, who knows whether that's legit or not, but maybe that's one reason why. I mean, you're very prolific on YouTube, so
I don't think it's that. Like, I still have a decent amount of free time. I think it's more of the fact that that's just like I don't know how I'm like wired. What was I gonna say? I know guys who have like super low tests, like total level 300 free test in like the lower range, and their sex drive is like 5 times higher than mine.
I guess it
Like,
makes sense. 'Cause
what's
it's like,
your
why?
total
How else would
testosterone once
you?
you're free
Like on TRT or before?
on TRT?
Okay, my total testosterone is like fucking 2,000. It's like through the roof.
Damn.
Yeah, free test is like 300 or something. With the end range being like 220, 240.
What?
Holy
The
shit.
the range here is for nanograms per deciliter is 4.5 to 25 is like
It's a different. That must be like a lab core. I usually do it with Quest. So according to that one, it would be like 35 or something.
oh okay.
You just need
Damn,
to
dude, that's really high. Because
Yeah.
dude, I listened to your voice before, like you were doing some video in LA, and then your
No,
voice
it definitely
dude,
changed my voice.
It's
Yeah.
like an octave lower.
Yeah, no, for sure. Fucking more plays, more dates to the video on that. Where he literally just
On
broke
you?
down my voice. Yeah.
Really?
Oh,
I didn't
nice.
know that.
Yeah.
Wait, he did a video on you specifically?
Yeah. Where
Oh,
he
wow,
literally
I didn't know that.
Oh, I thought everyone knew that. Yeah, where he basically just
Nah.
did like talked about my voice, but it's actually a really, really funny video because for a long time I've been trying to get him on my podcast. So what I used to say is like, hey guys, listen, it's out of my hands. So just leave him a comment, tell him if you want him to come on my podcast, right? I didn't know to what extent my subscribers took it. So he started off the video by saying, yeah, we're going to be talking about this guy, Alex, from Playing with Fire. And actually, he's been on my radar for a while because his subscribers have been harassing the shit out of him. And then he just chose his like comment section and it's just literally just like, go on Playing with Fire, like hundreds of that. He's like, this guy must have the most persistent fans ever, or he's just hiring bots. He's like, I don't know what his deal is, but we're going to be analyzing his voice. So it was pretty funny. We wound up like emailing back and forth afterwards, and we're all good now. But yeah,
I'd love to watch that video.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I'll watch it after this.
Yeah.
I would just like to state for the record that my testosterone is top 1%. I have 966 total testosterone. Yeah. And I think before, I didn't really test it before, but if I were to just guess out of the blue, I'd probably say it's like 400 because of the shit that I was doing. Eating and drinking mostly out of plastic, mostly plastic water bottles. Just eating shitty food, really bad sleep. Yeah.
And you don't take TRT, right?
I don't take anything. Yeah. I do take beef liver though, and the cholesterol is very important for testosterone. So
yeah. Is your cholesterol like super high?
I don't know. I have to go test that because I know 85% of your cholesterol is determined by your liver. So it basically, if you're eating more cholesterol, it'll produce less.
I feel like I'm kind of going off like another side tangent. I think we did this last time.
Okay, can we address something? This guy's like, is Justin Mark legit or a scammer? Why are those the only two options? First of all, take a step back. This is called black or white thinking. If you want to make money and fuck girls and have a great life, get out of black or white thinking. Is he a scammer? Is he legit? It's like, and who gives a fuck, dude? All you care about is your life. Is there a girl sucking your penis right now or not? Then go out and meet girls. Start applying
only after
shit.
the podcast, not during the podcast.
What percentage of guys in this community are just fucking faggots who sit at home? Is this guy skull sizes? What about him? What's his leg out? What is he doing? What about you, faggot? Jesus. Sorry.
Oh my god.
I love that. Someone's got to clip that out. That was great. All right, so this is for you, Alex. Do you do in-person coaching in Miami?
I have never done a boot camp or in-person coaching. I definitely don't have any intention of starting. It honestly seems like low-key miserable to me. I don't know how you guys do it, but yeah, no.
I did one.
Go to Austen or
Avery. It was
Avery.
exhausting.
They do it.
Yeah. So I want to ask you guys this: like, do you guys think? Because I want to bring it back to dating apps because I do think it's very much responsible for whatever. The people that Austen was just making fun of. I mean, the vast majority of those guys, I'm sure they've tried dating apps, they failed at it, and because of that, they sort of have this sort of mindset, right? Do you think that like cold approach now is sort of like that new golden opportunity? Because so for example, like the Chads, the guys that get like when they log into their Tinder, it says 99 plus people like are waiting to match you back, whatever. Those guys, they probably don't even need to go out that often, right? So do you think because those guys are preoccupied and like with the dating apps and they don't need to go out, do you think that it's made it easier for cold approach now compared to back in the day?
I don't know.
You know what I'll say? I think cold approach combined with Instagram is like the most effective. The reason why is because like AG said, so you said you got a 30-second number close in Miami and you end up banging the girl. So what did you put her on after that? Did you put her on your Instagram? Did you put her on messages?
I put her on number. I don't have the best Instagram, so I don't usually I put girls on Snapchat sometimes, but not usually Instagram because I don't have a great Instagram profile.
Because I'll say for myself, I think now I used to agree with numbers the best, but honestly, if you have a sick Instagram, I'm starting to believe that
I've heard multiple people say that, including CL, including several people who have good Instagrams. I'm starting to come around to that perspective too. That having a sick Instagram might be better. I used to always also think numbers the way to go. Like it's fucking gay. Don't even bother with Instagram. But I'm coming to come around. Once I get my blue check mark, I'm definitely gonna start doing that.
So what do you guys think when you ask for a girl's number and then they say, "How about my Instagram?" What do you think of that?
I don't know. It depends on the perspective. Usually, if she's not willing to give her number out, that means that she probably didn't invest that much and she's not that down. But the thing that I like about Instagram is it's just a marketing funnel for your PP, basically. So it's like you get girls on there. They're building a passive attraction, passive comfort without you having to do any additional work, right? It's the same thing in business. If you can pass additional time on to your customers, right, that's extremely valuable. For example, like DMV, no one wants to wait in the fucking line. There's a DMV Express service. It's $30 instead of free. People opt to pay $30 because they save 5 hours of their life. So if I can make my Instagram so fucking awesome that girls go on and they just like see everything about me, like, oh fuck, he travels, he's cool, he does speeches, he does seminars, he's in a helicopter, he's XYZ, and I'm posting stories and they can follow up with me and it constantly reminds them of me, then it's super effective. And it builds up passive comfort. Because if a girl meets you and she's just like, this guy's pretty cool, but she doesn't feel super comfortable with you, she sees footage of her family, photos of her friends, you're tagging different people. So you're not some fucking weirdo, crazy serial killer guy, right?
I noticed too, one thing of like a girl's equivalent of shooting her shot is her reacting to one of your stories on Instagram. So like that's kind of her way of inviting you to kind of start a conversation, right?
And now she can just hit the heart instead of replying. She can just hit a heart to your story.
Or
so I think Instagram is better than numbers, but not for most guys, right? If you have your profile's in like the top 10% or something like that, then it becomes better than the number. But if you got like 500 followers, 3 shitty pictures, like you don't have a cool lifestyle displayed, you don't post on your stories, then it's worse than a number.
Yeah.
Who wants to answer this? Is boot camp a good way to lose approach anxiety?
I mean, it's great for that.
No, it's better to get over anxiety by sitting at home and comparing your skull size to other men and your angles, your
canthal
angles.
tilt. It's the canthal tilt. That's.
Do you have a negative or positive canthal tilt? If it's negative, it's over, bro.
I've had a couple hundred boot camp clients at this point. I've only had 2 that were just couldn't approach on the boot camp, right? Like even though they took a boot camp, they still couldn't approach. So almost everyone who takes a boot camp is able to approach, even if they couldn't do it before, even if they had crippling approach anxiety, they'd been putting it off for years. Like it's really good for that, for sure.
Yeah, and I'll say the same thing. I'm sure AG does the same thing. You get on a boot camp or an immersion program, you just get ramped up. So it's like, and I'm not under any impression. Like I'm not gonna say like I have the only solution for this is one other thing that's really gay about this community. It's like, think about like any other service. It'd be like a mechanic going, I am the only one who knows how to fix this engine. It's like, what? Or a psychiatrist. I'm the only one that knows how to prescribe this. Like AG, I'm sure does a fucking awesome job on his program, right? And me too. Fucking sick, dude. Anyway, but the things you do on the program, you just gradually ramp them up. So I warm up their vocal, so like their voice, I warm up their verbal ability, I warm up
how do you do that?
ability.
How do you warm that up?
So the voice comes down to 5 different components. One is how loud it is. So you want slow, low, loud, breaking your proportionality, and resonating in the chest. So slowness, doesn't matter that much. It does to a certain extent. Most guys, when they're super anxious, they just talk too fast. So it's usually a symptom of anxiety. Lowness you can do by increasing your testosterone. You can also increase by this kind of vocal exercise is actually the most effective vocal exercise for doing speeches as well. If you like, my voice is actually somewhat, I can notice that it's lower right now just by doing that. Loud comes by how much air you can project out of your voice. You can take a deep breath, do a hiss out, and then you basically can expand your rib cage more and push more air out, which is the only thing that increases the volume. Another mindset thing is you talk through the person, not to them. Then you have resonating in the chest, which is you can talk in the nose like this. Hello, how's it going? You can resonate in the throat. Hey, this is where most people speak. It's a little weak. And then you can resonate in the chest, and it sounds more mellifluous. It sounds deeper. And then the last thing would be, what was the last part? Breaking proportionality, which is more of kind of a mindset thing, thinking that you're the boss, you're in control of the interaction. But you can practice it by taking a fucking book at home and just reading it. And like, I'll read a comment right here. Can't do social media at all, right? So the voice goes down at the end. We've all heard this a million times. But yeah, other things that impact your voice are just the overall qualities of being a man, leading, being more assertive, everything else comes into that as well. The voice is just how a girl experiences you, right? But the other things can just resonate in the chest, bro. Yes. That's it, man. The voice is the only thing that matters. That's what I said. That's the only thing that matters. Dude, these guys can only pick one or two things. They, like their brain, if you add a third thing, their brain.
Dude, this is Chicken Dinner. He's a massive troll. He watches every single one of my videos.
He's on Chicken Dinner. Big fan.
Yeah, dude, he's on. Of course, he's on. It's every
Bring
single
him on,
live
dude.
stream. He's here.
I'm gonna
Dude,
IQ
you
mog
think he's
him
going
right
out
now.
trying to pick up girls or something?
He actually said
what?
he was going to IQ mog us in a previous stream. And we invited him on. We're like, yeah, let's go, bro. Do it.
So what happens is he watches
join.
every single possible live stream I do, which is I don't even watch every single live stream I do.
Dude, why do you keep giving this dude oxygen? He's definitely jerking off his little PC behind his computer screen right now. He loves it when you bring him up. He loves it when you bring. I tell you this every time.
But Austin
Chicken Dinner.
I love it because the comments are so fun, dude.
I was gonna
couldn't pick up women at a bar in real life. Like, let's forget the fact that I have multiple cameras filming objective proof. Oh, but they're all paid. I paid 6,000 girls to stand around in this nightlife district so I could.
This is a bot.
Yes.
Yeah, they will just say it's fake though. So for that, there's no amount.
I would say to Austin's point on boot camps, one of the most common things I see is guys talk in a very subservient way, right? They're talking to the girl like she's above them. They talk fast. Their tone goes way up. They're like, "Hey, how's it?" That's so common. I see that like a very high percentage of clients. The other one is they don't lead, right? There'll be a girl that's super into them. Clearly she's DTF. She might even bring up something very sexual and they don't pick up on it. And they're just like, can I get your number to meet you someday? And they could have pulled. And I see that like every boot camp. And that's one of the biggest things I have to teach is like to actually take the lead and make something happen.
Yeah, I do that. I'll fully acknowledge that. I have a tendency to like fucking yeah. Well, not that I don't lead, but I have a tendency sometimes to just get.
We had a pull together where you led, like we pulled.
No, I know. I'm not saying like I'm like an extreme.
You did a good job.
I'm just saying that's
you
like
did all right.
If I was analyzing my own cold approach game, like that would be something that I should work on.
I like this guy self-made is trolling us, but he's giving us money every time. Like he's asked 20 times about the laptop being clean, and like every time he posts, he's giving more money.
How does it even work?
That actually is a perfect troll because that is like a background that would be in a
yeah, it is. Yeah. Photo. I'm here for my middle school.
He's actually been on my stream before. He's actually a pretty normal guy, honestly. But how does it even work with the super chats? Because it's like 4 people. Like, what does it get like divided up, or I don't even know how.
I think it's on each of our channels. Whoever's stream they're on.
Can I address 2 legitimate questions? One was, can you seduce a woman with your voice alone? And the answer is yes. They've done studies. The deeper voices are perceived as more attractive for short-term mating and also long-term dating. And also there's some cool YouTube videos on this too. This guy just goes up behind this girl, talks to her. He's like this, I forget what his name is, but if you just type like black dude seduces girl with his voice, you can probably find it.
Are you talking about ARC or whatever? Alan Roger Curry? Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know, but he went to a college campus and the girl's like standing in front of him and he's just talking with his voice. And yeah, I do, and you will notice a difference the better you speak. The other legitimate question was, how do you know what women are attracted to from a sexual like fantasy standpoint? I actually have a study right here we can nerd out on, but it's pretty much what you would expect for all the guys that are on this panel. It's like what are the most common fantasies girls have? First of all, they want the guy to be dominant. They want to get tied up. I don't want to say what one of them is because I don't want this to be taken out of
But
context.
that's like the most common one too.
You
one
can
that
say
bondage.
it, just
Can't
in the
talk about.
context.
They want to be submissive.
One
What are
thing,
some of these?
50 Shades of Grey was the most popular book of the last 10 years. And that says a lot about female psychology, right? It's all about pure dominance, submission. That's the whole fucking dynamic. And that's like what women find sexy. It just is what it is.
Yeah, that's true. But the guy that's being dominant, they want to be also like a higher value guy, like because
That's
Kristen Gray's
another
character, he's
theme
like
in
a
romance novels.
multi-millionaire. He's like good looking. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys want to? I don't have this up, but I know it kind of. I've said it so much. The top searches from women on porn sites are lesbian, scissoring, and threesome.
Those are the top three.
Wow.
Yeah, and then beyond that are searched like more like double or triple the rate that men search it are like bisexual, scissoring. I think I've said that. Yeah, lesbian was like is the number one. So like,
Austin, would you be cool with sharing the story you told me offline about your buddy? Because I think a lot of people will find it super interesting, like I did.
which one?
Mr. Lucky POV.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's a really fascinating story.
Wait, oh, you want me to share it now? Okay.
Yeah.
How he
If it's
got
cool,
into
like unless he wants to stay private or something.
I will do my best to yeah, so you want me to tell you the story about how he got into shooting?
Yeah. Well, you said he started off as a dating coach, so I mean that's like pretty fascinating, the transition.
Okay. Well, he is completely anonymous, so yeah, I'll just say that. Yeah, he started off as a dating coach, and then he was dating a porn star. Actually, he's dated quite a few porn stars. Anyone that lives in LA long enough, if you do game, you'll date a porn star. It's not people act like, oh my God, it'd be amazing to date a porn star. It's like, dude, there's a bunch of them, and there's a ton of OnlyFans girls, and guess what? They all love sex. So yeah. Anyway, but he was dating her, and she got a connection to a guy who was really established in the business, and the guy basically couldn't connect with girls at all, even though he's fucked, thousands of them. He couldn't form a real relationship beyond that. So he hired my buddy as a dating coach, and from there, he basically asked him like, hey, do you want to you see I have cameras and stuff, you want to like come help me produce some stuff, just be on the set? He said sure. So he went up, he started helping film and set lights, and then he started directing it more and just being an overall producer for it. And then eventually he just kind of made his own thing, started doing it on the side, and it became like his main thing, which was his own site. And I think he said all this on my podcast. I have a podcast with him if you want to check out Austen Summers. Mr. Lucky POV. And and then he started doing his own stuff, and he works on content trade. So basically he never pays any of the girls he bangs. They basically do it as a content trade, which means she gets content for her site and then he gets content for his sites. And some of them he films with a cell phone, and he has his own site for each time he's with a girl. He films something behind the scenes, like with a camera, because some people like that, like kind of gritty, like raw, like, oh, I could be holding a camera too. And then some like the more produced ones. And he has a really unique setup. He has a really unique aesthetic with the way he does his videos, and he stands out. And it's hard to compete in something that's free, right? And to get some people to pay for something that exists for free is a little bit difficult. And he's like, I forget because this conversation was a while ago. He's either the first or second highest paid male porn star, and he doesn't show his face, which is fucking epic, right? So he's like total anonymity, and he's fucking the hottest girls, and he's making money by fucking hot girls. Almost everyone on the planet, you spend money to fuck hot girls. Oh, I got this new clothes, I got this style, I got the blah, 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 to meet the cute little lady.
I might have an idea of who that might be. It makes sense, right? Because girls don't care, or no one really cares that much about the man's face. Like, not that many people.
If anyone's wondering who it is, it's Julian Blanc. I'll just say it.
Really?
He's like married with kids now. He's like
wearing his wife,
which makes outfits. The story all that more compelling.
I've always kind of considered doing like an OnlyFans where I do an infield, And like, if you want to see what happened afterwards, join my
That would be a
OnlyFans.
good
Obviously,
idea.
get their permission. You don't show their face. Technically, that would all be legal and on the up and up, but I think I'd definitely get canceled if I did it. At least that's my guess.
Potentially.
Yeah, they don't like the connection between YouTube and OnlyFans. But David Bond does it. He's found a way to do it. He's like, I don't know anyone that's remotely connected to this niche that is smarter than David Bond at like figuring out a way, like a solution for everything. Like I won't say how he did it, but he has a verified Instagram. So, and I'm not saying
David Bond seems like a very, very interesting guy.
Oh,
I mean,
David
he's
Bond has a
basically like one of
verified
those
Instagram?
digital nomads.
Can I
right?
talk
I mean,
about
that's
my
what I
homie
am
David
too,
Bond
so.
real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah. So he basically he says this anyway. So he's paid for some foursomes and stuff just to have the experience back when he was in Thailand. Same thing with threesomes. I want to say he never had a threesome until like 9 months ago. He asked me for some tips on this. He asked my buddy, one of our other friends who he's not in the community. I want to say his name, but this guy, he had several girlfriends and they would like meet together and he had like kind of like a harem thing. But the way he described it, for him, it was more a relationship thing because he grew up as basically like an emotional orphan and he didn't have like family members to rely on. So with women he dates, he wants to have like a family and he fucks them all. It's kind of weird. But yeah. So anyway, David decided like 9 months ago to like this day, and he said, I want to start having threesomes and I want to start having harems. So he started having threesomes, putting bisexual girls together. Once you have a couple bisexual girls, you just kind of introduce them. It's pretty, from my perspective, it's easier than banging a girl on her own because you already have the social proof of having a girl in the pre-selection. It's pretty easy. And if you just find a bisexual kinky girl, she's down. 80% of girls want to have threesomes. Only like 12% will have them in their lifetime. So it's very sad and we need to help them out. So he started doing that. And then, dude, he went to Colombia. He started like piecing together the pieces, just introducing bisexual girls. He read everything about it. He read Playboy. He read Dan Bilzerian's book. He researched like sex cults. He researched like polygamous marriages. He just went so deep and so laser focused into this area that he started connecting all these girls together. And he would start having more events with them, more fun with them. And basically the most he ever did, he had, so Dan, to put in perspective, Dan Bilzerian, the most girls he's ever had in like one like orgy type of situation was a 9-some. And then David had a 12-some. And he doesn't have anywhere near the amount of social clout or wealth.
How do you even like fucking keep up with that? Like, I think I would just bust by like the third or fourth girl. I mean, like,
that's the question for him. He basically said that it's after
how are the
you have
physics
like 3 girls, it's just excess stress and excess money. Like if he takes them out to get food beforehand or whatever. Yes, he paid for 12 girls to eat and drink and have fun at this like bar/club or whatever or restaurant.
That the
meal is like
$600. How like the fucking of it works, like how he has the stamina for that. Like
probably not good. It's just to say you did it, I would guess.
Have you had him on yet or no?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you should probably have him on after.
He stayed at my place like 2 months ago. He was here for a night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it's awesome how he's like, he gets laser focused at things and he just goes balls deep. Like he had a phase where it was just like travel, and then he had like the vlogging phase, and then he had like the girlfriend vlog phase. That's when he's measured stuff like this. He had like I had more stuff than him.
He's a fascinating individual, that's for sure.
He is one of the, so I won't say that David's lifestyle will make you the happiest, but I will admit that David is one of the top 10 most interesting human beings that is alive. Yeah, just the stuff that he's been on the news in so many different countries, and he has a harem, and like, it's like, who do you know that is like, oh, that's like the harem dude that's like you wanted in 19 countries apparently, but he's not. But
Yeah. So really quickly, speaking of David Bond, I think, this ties back perfectly to what we were talking about with like the topic of this discussion is dating dead in the West. So, I mean, we all kind of concluded, well, it's not necessarily dead. Maybe it's tougher or whatever. Do you guys think it's better for most guys to, stay in the US and date? Or because I know this is like a big thing now of guys saying like, oh, you should just go abroad and travel and date that way. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Sure. Yeah, I would say if I could, I would go abroad. I think for most guys, yeah. unless you have a specific reason to be in the U.S. like I do.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely abroad. Everything is cheaper. So if you work virtually, like your money, it depends on your job though. If you have to like show up to work, then you can't do that. But if you have a virtual job, then your money will give you a lot further. You can save more money. You can potentially even get out paying taxes. I don't know. Well, I guess you would have to. That's a whole thing in and of itself.
I know how the tax thing works. It's pretty amazing. So basically, you only need to pay taxes. It increases by 1K every year. Other than your state tax, you only need to pay taxes above. I think it's up to $105,000 a year now. So basically, anything 105,000. Oh yeah, go ahead, Austin. Maybe you know more about this than I do.
It's called the 330-day rule. Basically, if you stay outside the U.S. for 330 plus days a year, you pay 2 tax brackets lower than. But also with the Biden administration, everything's getting shittier. I know a lot of people that are just reneging their U.S. citizenship, which is kind of sad. But this is an empire that's in decline. It's like very obviously in decline. But it doesn't mean you can't have fun on the way down. Like Rome was super fun on the way down, right?
Yeah, Saturnalia, they were celebrating it like most months out of the year. Actually, Avery and I were talking about this earlier today for some reason. So,
and dating is part of life, but it's not your whole life, right? So,
it is an important part of life.
Yeah, the reason I choose to live in the U.S. Mostly comes down to it's like you have a cultural familiarity with people, and you can banter and have jokes. And honestly, the U.S. in a lot of ways is one of the best countries in the world. Like, if I want anything, I can get it delivered to my door. And
that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Like other countries, it becomes you have to have an assistant dedicated to buying you stuff because it's so difficult to find out where things are sold and then how to get them. And then like it's a process and like it's annoying. But I will say for dating, other countries are much better. And then for if you want to start like being more conscious about your money, and also countries don't always stay amazing, right? There are countries that go into severe decline, countries that have war and outbreaks and stuff, and you want to, it's better to be diversified. Like Andrew Tate talks about, like, you don't want to be off the grid. You want to be on like as many grids as possible. So that if something goes fucking bad, you can just like bounce into another country. The smartest thing I ever heard him say, by the way, that is actually applicable to people here is go for 2 weeks every year to a different country and get a driver's license in that country. And
what's the significance?
So what happens with him is if he gets pulled over, let's say he's driving in Canada and he gets pulled over for speeding, he gives them a Polish driver's license, right? And they a lot of times there's like, I don't even know what to fucking do with this, and they just let him go.
Oh, interesting.
He has a Thai one too. It's like all squiggly lines, and they're like, "Is this real?" And and he basically like he just says, "I'll pay the fine, whatever the fine is for driving." But like they're not going to talk to some Polish embassy to like revoke his license, right? So,
I mean, I guess if you're like pulling a Tate and going like 50 miles over the speed limit, I think like if you're not like breaking the driving laws, you don't really need to do that, right?
What do you say?
So
I feel like that applies to him well because he's got like a sports car and he's probably going like 50 to 100 over the speed limit. So for him, that could be like, but like for me, driving in like my Mazda CX-5 SUV, like at best, I'm going to go 15 miles over the speed limit. You know, like it's going to fucking take me 25 minutes to get over the speed limit in my car. So like, you know, it's not going to happen.
But there are places you can go and just with small investments amounts, you can get a passport in that country. So you can have access to parts of the world that the U.S. doesn't have access to.
Like what?
So there's a website, if you want to look at this, it's called passportindex.com. And you can passportindex.com.
Like, where can't you go as a U.S. citizen? I mean,
I think Saudi Arabia, North Korea.
Well, North Korea,
countries people don't want to go to anyway.
Yeah, North Korea, you can go as a if you do part of a tour group, you can go there with a U.S. passport, just not if you're a journalist. But after the whole auto dude debacle, I would never risk it. Did you guys hear about that? Some dude, he was just like a high school, whatever athlete, like on the right track, came from a good family, went to North Korea. And the last day he decided to like take one of the posters in the hotel off and take it with him as a souvenir, delayed him in the airport. He fucking spent like 3 years in a North Korean concentration camp. And then they finally negotiated his release. And he was like dead. Like he died within like a week of arriving to the US. They just like, I don't know, they probably like just fucking killed him, but who knows what like the actual story is. They said that
so they beat the crap out of him and then he died of his injuries. So that's basically what happened.
Yeah. So there's 37 countries you can't go to without a visa with a U.S. passport.
What are the countries?
Afghanistan, Algeria, Bangladesh, Belarus, Benin, Bhutan, Cameroon, Chad, China, Congo, Eritrea, Ghana, Hong Kong, Iran.
But those all sound like shitholes with exception.
Oh, sorry. Some of these are COVID-19 bans. So like Hong Kong and Japan, obviously, would be visa free once they remove the ban.
Yeah, with the exception of Hong Kong.
Russia. Oh, dude, this whole gay war broke out when I was planning on going to Russia. I really like Russia. I like the people. I like that they're blunt. The women.
Well, Russia is still fine. You can go to Russia, and you might actually have an edge there because of the currency devaluation. So you might be able to get way more stuff. Russia is fine. It's the Ukraine that you can't go to.
Yeah, it's just a $500 visa. But yeah, I definitely want to go. And I like that they have traditional gender roles, but the women are entrepreneurial. Like the women are super feminine, and they like defer to their men, and they want a strong man. But it's the top third. It's number 3 in female entrepreneurship in the world, which is cool.
Wow.
The only places I'm really like want to go is I want to go back to Colombia again. I want to go back to Medellin, and I want to go to Brazil. I want to check out Brazil and maybe like Costa Rica or something like that. Like that's kind of on my destination. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, let's talk about where the places we want to go. Brazil is definitely on my list too, and I think out of the women that I've dated, Brazilians definitely rank near the top. Like they're feminine, they have good bodies, they're just sensual, they know how to dance. Oof.
Yeah.
Miami's made me really like Argentinians. There's a lot of really hot Argentinians, and they tend to be very feminine.
Yeah, we know this.
At least in the month I was there, there were a lot
we know
of
this
really...
bald British dude who like used to hang out with us in Miami, and he went to Argentina. He banged some hotties there.
So
I want to go to Taiwan. Yeah, and it doesn't have to do. So this is something I was going to bring up is like when you're living the traveling lifestyle. I mean, if you want to just move or travel just for girls, I mean, look, I know some guys like that, and they're honestly the ones that I know. They're all a bit older and they're kind of weird. Like, I think you should go, Austin. You kind of alluded to this earlier. You want to go. It's not just about the girls, right? It's the whole travel experience. And honestly, if you're the type of person that likes to travel, and you're not a homebody, like naturally you're always kind of feel, I wouldn't say you feel left out compared to most people, but you just kind of feel like you don't connect with a lot of people that are just like, oh, here's my 9-to-5 job. Like, you know, naturally the people that you meet along your travels, especially if they're, you know, they're traveling long term, a lot of them are like English teachers. They sort of have a different mindset that might be similar to yours if you like traveling. And those are the types of girls that, you know, I like to date as well. So, you know, the vast majority of girls that I dated while abroad were not locals. They were actually other expat girls who were either, you know, English teachers or entrepreneurs themselves. But yeah, so anyway, I want to go to Taiwan just because it's probably not going to exist in like a decade. So, or it'll be taken over by a certain country.
You mean China? Yo,
China
like I said,
I have like no desire to go to like Asia at all, with the possible exception of Thailand, maybe. I don't know.
He says us Latin guys trying to get the white chicks. I like all types of girls. I will say I will end up marrying a white chick. I want to have white children. But Latin girls are great too.
I think I'll probably wind up with a Latin chick. I don't know.
Yeah, Latino or certain parts of Europe. I'm definitely going to take a train through Europe and just like bang girls in all of Europe. That's a plan next year or two, and then just see if any of the countries like are somewhere I could live. And if not, then I really like Miami. That's probably the second option.
Yeah, by that point I'll have my blue check mark, you know. So I'll get you my happy seconds. Yeah,
so I'll take it. I'll take what I can get.
Should I just blow out the best cities in the world?
I paid this company money. I'm waiting on them. Oh, it's gonna be.
Yeah, what are the best cities?
Yeah, Austin, please. Yeah, let's hear it. In the world, I'm guessing, right?
We could save it for another time.
Oh, keep them on the hook. No, that's fine, man.
These dating coaches are like, I am not chasing. I recognize.
Give us a like, and then we'll tell you. Otherwise, we have to stop the stream, guys. We got to stop the stream if you don't like.
Oh, I hate when people do that.
10,000 likes.
Unless you smash the like button right now.
But you have to smash it like really hard. Like I want your computer to like shut off because you smashed the button so hard.
Otherwise, we're just going to
mollywop the like button. And
this guy says, I want white children. Wow, racist. It's not racist to have a preference in the women that you want to date.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Racism means that you perceive one race as uniquely better than another race.
I think my favorite is Latina with light skin, huge tits, huge ass, and green or blue eyes, which is like extremely rare. But like that.
Same, but I don't care about the tits, to be honest. Like as long as they're decent.
Oh really? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, though, Latina is not like a race. It's like it's hard to quantify. No, it's not, because it's a bunch of different races combined into one. So you have the original natives there, then you also have the European settlers, and then you also have the slaves from Africa, and they all kind of like.
But dude, even in
together.
Spanish people are not all Spanish, right?
Yeah, because they have the Moors,
Berber, right? And like nomadic Arab tribes that basically they conquered part of Spain, or almost all of Spain, right, for 800 years.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
What
scientifically,
are the girls like in Barcelona? Yo, good question. The girls that live there are actually really open to meet travelers, which was kind of interesting, because a lot of places that you go in the world, like they're not that interested in meeting travelers, because travelers are going to leave, right? So unless you're like super Chad Maximus, like they don't just want your jeans and you to peace out. So it was really interesting to like meeting girls there. They were like down to like hang out. Girls are super social. Spain is, I'd say Spain is the most social place I've ever been. They are just constantly meeting up with their friends. They don't give a fuck about technology. They don't really give a fuck about anything in Spain. They don't care about even having good food. All they care about is like socializing with their friends. That you see people constantly, whether it's in social public spaces, talking with people, or just like restaurants. They all just get together. They smoke, they drink. That's part of the Spanish food pyramid. And they're really cool, really social, fun people.
When you say Colombia is like that too, right? Colombia and Brazil?
I would say Colombia is more family oriented, and I would say Spain is more like friend oriented. Friend and kind of friend circle oriented. And partially that comes down to city design, because it's a walkable city. I could just hit up. It'd be like if Alex and I were in the same city. I'm like, yo, bro, walk over. Let's go hang out. Let's grab dinner. And you just do that every single day. You're just constantly hanging out with people. I love it for that. The transportation structure in America has fucked so many things up beyond the comprehension of basically everyone listening. The fact that you have to take a car to go anywhere is a literal crime against the human species. The fact that you can't walk down the street and that cars get precedence over people is ridiculous. And
then boats get precedence over cars. That's what annoys me.
What do you say?
Boats get precedence over cars. So meaning like they'll lift the bridge for like one boat and make like 1,000 cars wait.
Yeah. This guy says suburbs equal blue pill prison. And dude, the amount of like psychological damage and depression caused by disconnection from other people because you're just in the house far away from everyone else is pretty large. Like in Spain, there's just public spaces everywhere where you can relax, hang out, talk to people, benches, like things that you can like. It's just a well-designed place where you can meet people naturally. Kind of like you guys know from being in nightclubs for lots of years. There's some bars that are just really conducive to meeting people. They actually construct stuff for social like conduciveness, so that you see other people. There's places to talk. And then there's obviously cafeteria clubs, which are more about flexing status. The point of a cafeteria club, like a status venue, isn't to meet people. It's to just kind of, flex and be like, I'm a badass. But the places to fuck, it's like you want a fun venue that has like lots of small little hidden corners and rooms, and that like if you meet people, you're bumping into them in like the right ways. Yeah. So think about that for cities.
Dude, that's good to know, because I'm planning on after I'm done in the U.S., I'm going to go back to my hometown for the first time in like 3 years for a little bit. But then after that, I'm planning on making my way east. So going to start off in Portugal, Spain-ish, and then just make my way eventually probably back to my homeland of Japan. Hopefully it opens up by then. But that's good to know. Do you need to know Spanish and like Portuguese in order to...
You can get by in English, but I would say Spanish definitely helps. And Spanish is such an easy language to learn. There's really no excuse. You already know 40% of Spanish right now. Do you know what chocolate means?
Guessing it's chocolate.
Yes. So
yes.
yeah, there's
I'm
so
learning
many words
Spanish.
like that.
I'm learning, guys. Yay.
It's 40% lexical similarity with English. So a lot of it you already know. And then it's just about like speak as much as possible, and you'll
good to know. Right on. All right,
so
let's read the super chat.
Japan? I had the dude from Attraction Japan on. He was telling me that because I was like saying like, yeah, it seems like most dudes in Japan are super beta. He's like, yes. He's like, but there's actually a small subset of Japanese dudes who get more pussy than anyone. So he's saying there's these like, I don't know, Japanese naturals. He's like, I don't know, they're like maybe 5% of the population, but they're fucking all the hot Japanese girls. Apparently.
Dude, I would kill to be a Japanese Chad. Japanese girls are fucking hot to me. And
There's some
Korean.
really I like
Japanese
big,
and Korean girls are so fucking hot to me, dude.
yeah,
Well,
they'll
I'm
have
half
asses
Japanese, so
though. That's the only downside. They only have tits, no ass.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll slide in your DMs, Kevin.
That's just an Asian thing in general.
I'm not the. I'm
All right,
not
so
the
let's read this really quickly. So, how to approach groups with guys in them in nightclubs, and what do I improve on in day game after typical eye contact and body language? I don't think English is his first language. I don't really know what he's asking here. Do you guys?
He's asking how do you approach groups?
Okay, let's
where
do the
there's
first
not-
question first. AG probably has the best answer for the first one, so I'll let him.
What I used to do, my exercise in a Vegas club, is I would see the hottest girl in the club and try to make out with her, even if she was with a guy. And then after that, you just really don't give a shit. I mean, really, it's like you talk to the girl. If the guys have a big problem with it, then you see if they're together. If they're together, it's probably not going to happen, right? You don't waste your time. Like, I don't want to waste time when they're a couple or some shit. So you just ask how they know each other pretty quick. But other than that, it's not really that different. Like, if the guy's an obstacle, then I'm less likely to stay in that interaction or like go for the pull because the guy's going to make it tough. But if the guy doesn't really do anything, he comes across kind of beta or he's like some orbiter, then I'll just try to see if I can lead her away within 20 minutes or so, or if not less, honestly.
Yeah, I'll add to that I like to just kind of do reconnaissance. So like you can be a social person without directly hitting on people. You realize that. So it's like you can go into a group and just socialize with everyone, see how they're doing, and then if a girl's like, and then you can kind of figure out the dynamic. Like, oh, how do you guys know each other? And then they'll basically say, well, oh, this is my girlfriend, and you go, oh, okay.
Bye.
Or if it's like, oh, we're just workmates. Then you're like, okay, yeah. And you have to get out of that weird thing where it's like, oh, I can't talk to mixed groups. First, I'd say it's better to talk to girls who are alone, and then once you get better at that, then you do sets of 2, and then in the mixed groups, etc. So it's just like gradually facing your fear over time, and just keep in the back of your mind that even if she's with a guy, that doesn't mean he's going to kill you, right? Like if I'm with a girl and like some guy like comes and hits on her, I'm not going to be like, bro, back the fuck up. Like that's just like super reactive and gay. So I'll be like, hey, what's up, bro? Yeah, we're just hanging out, And I'm not going to come in like super protective mode. And I expect that my girl will basically like not like be disloyal, obviously, right?
I've been going to clubs
Especially right in front of you.
Then she gets.
I've been going to clubs for 10 years, and I've still never gotten in a fight. Right? I've never had a guy hit me. I've had a couple guys like shove me a little bit, but that's the worst that ever happened. Once I got blackout, and I did wake up with a scar, but I don't know if that really counts. I don't know if it was even a fight. But I've been very aggressive. I used to do the, if you know RSD Ozzy, his fear technology, which was like go to the most absurd group possible, like a couple making out, and try to hit on the girl even though they're making out. I did shit like that, and I still have never gotten in a fight. I'm not saying
how did that go? Like, what would happen? What kind of reaction?
I mean, they would just be like, "What?" Like a little confused usually, and I didn't like escalate it further. I was like, "All right, well, I guess it's not going to happen." It's never really a big deal.
Interesting.
So this guy asked, why is NYC good for game, yet San Francisco or Chicago is bad for game, if they're both walkable cities? So the dynamic in San Francisco is that it's a tech hub, so it attracts mostly tech people. And because men have a disposition to be better at math and science, then they recruit mostly those people. Like ask anyone who's like in a tech company who their tech people are that are around them, and they're almost all guys. Obviously, there's female tech recruiters and this type of thing.
They're trying to force more into it.
Yeah, San Francisco is a male-dominated area. It's like I think it's 55 or 60% male, and like San Jose, which is part of that area, is just horrible. And yeah, so ask anyone that lives there. It's just a bunch of like IT nerds that like it's not a good area. Chicago, I wouldn't say Chicago is bad. I think Chicago is pretty good. New York City, I would say, is also really good because 10 to 12% of the men on that Manhattan area are gay. So they're basically not competing for your women, and they're taking another guy with them, which is good. And then you have, I would say New York City during the summer is the best. It's like during the winter and the fall, it's actually mediocre. But during the summer, the reason why it's so good is huge companies are based in New York, and they all have these like interns that get flown in or to basically work for these tech companies for the summer. So you just have bars that are just all these hot young girls that are there for the summer, and they don't know anyone, and they want to fuck you.
Oh,
I gotta feel
someone said LA versus Miami. I would say Miami by a good amount. It's better for day game and for night game, honestly. LA has one really good club called the Bungalow, but that's about it.
Bungalow used to be good. It's not that good anymore. How about
There's also a gay club.
Boston is solid, actually. That's where I went to undergrad. Boston has probably, I think, maybe the most favorable female to male ratio because of all the universities, and typically it's mostly chicks that go to universities. Like Boston is the biggest college town, so the ratio there is going to be good. Yeah, like it's going to be basically the opposite of San Francisco. So I think Boston, aside from the fact that it's cold as fuck, but like during the summer and early fall is really good.
I also agree with Alex's point that second-tier cities are generally better in a state because guys are more likely to relocate for work and women are more likely to stay around their family.
Yep, exactly.
Sometimes college towns. So I remember New Orleans isn't a college town, but it has a college area. And when you go to the Bourbon Street, it's like most of the chicks are fat. There's a few hot ones, but it's not the best. But then you go to the college area. I went to that bar. It was like the bars in that area was like 70% girls. And every single one was like, I was making out with them within like 2 minutes. Like it was super easy mode. So some college areas can be really, really, really good.
Oh, interesting.
This guy says Pimpin' Ken. So that book by Pimpin' Ken is actually underrated. It's like pimping mixed with like self-development. It's really good.
I've never heard of that. Is that a guy on YouTube, Pimpin' Ken?
He's an author of a book.
Okay.
I
think we should try to finish this before the 2-hour mark. What do you guys think?
Dude, this guy said the hardest part about learning is learning to ramble about useless crap like them. I agree.
Yep.
Dude, that is the most underappreciated skill set in the world, is like being able to just talk forever. You give me a topic right now, I could talk for 3 hours. Oh, yeah. And during that time, when you're talking to a girl about useless crap, you're taking her mind off of things that stress her out, make her feel uncomfortable. You're just kind of like using your voice and your words as just like this beautiful, like, I don't know, rainbow that she can like play in. It's like, that sounds really gay. It's basically you're using your voice and your words as like a way to move the interaction forward. Yeah.
Your ability to
Austen
speak.
Summers is making this live. Alex, do I have a spot on the next live, Alex?
Of course. What is
I will
Alex
do anything for this position, dude?
Was he saying like, I don't know?
No, I was
I don't know
not,
about you, bro, but maybe.
That's not true.
Yeah.
That did never happen. I sent Austin a voice memo saying literally, dude, hey, dude, we'd love to have you on as a regular.
Yeah, man, it's cool. I think we all
this
have.
This guy's asking me, have you had a dollar figure a year yet? What does that mean?
Have you made $1 before in an entire year?
I have actually, yeah.
Damn, it's impressive.
Yeah, I don't mean to flex on you.
I think it means, have you had a 7-figure a year yet?
Oh, 7-figure. No, I haven't.
Yeah, I never had a year.
I did the math on this for Alex. Did you see that thing I posted? It was like this chick, her bio, she's like 45-year-old fat chick in America. And she's like 6 feet, 7 figures, and 8 inches, or keep it moving.
I think I did see that. Yeah.
The least probable thing of that is actually the 7 figures. It's 0.1% of the population makes 7 figures.
0.1% of America, or just the entire world?
I think it's America, yeah, because
the top 1% is like 300K, I think. So that sounds about right.
Yeah.
With the inflation probably like 450 or something. But global 1% is $30,000, which I thought was an interesting stat.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, so many people, like the fastest growing countries are, they don't make that much money. So I guess it makes sense.
This guy said you had all the early crypto calls dropping the ball. So I actually knew about, because I was into like anarcho-capitalism back in the day, and like just based like economic people, like and like what is that institute called? Mises Institute. And I had an economics club in college. They actually had a presentation about Bitcoin, and I was like, oh fuck, I'll buy it. And then I bought I think $100 worth of Bitcoin back when the price was like, I don't know, $5 or something. And I actually bought $100 on my computer, and then I like an old fashioned way where it has to load all the transaction stuff. And then I bought $100 on Coinbase. And I was like, holy fuck. I researched forever to find that. And my buddy was like, dude, you should search for like at least just one day and see if you could find something about it. So I searched, old textbooks. I searched old like papers and my old email accounts, old Google Drives, old computers. Eventually, I found an email from Coinbase from 2012, and it said, your $100 worth of Bitcoin has just basically been deposited or whatever. So I started freaking the fuck out, dude. I'm like, because that's 500K. It's like, I just discovered 500K, and I'm like, holy fuck. So I started rushing and whatever, and then I put all the verification stuff for Coinbase to get back in my account. It says you have to wait 24 hours. I do that. I didn't sleep for the full 24 hours. I get into the account. It says a month later, you traded this amount for like $150. And I'm like, fucking Christ, bro.
Oh, damn.
So I made $50 when I could have made like 50K. So
I was about to be like, holy shit. Oh, man.
Everyone has stories like this, or at least a lot of people from
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Yeah, I used to have like
can I put this into perspective? And we're all talking about game. Oh, fucking harems and this. All that matters is you have a good social life. Literally, abundance for most guys is fucking 2 girls in a week, right? Like if you have 2 girls that you really like and you are, you get to bang them, you have good sex with them, you take them out. What more do you need? Like that satisfies the wants and needs of virtually every guy listening to this. And then for money, all you need to do is make enough money where you can kind of escape the matrix slightly. I'd recommend getting to about 120K per year as your kind of target. At that point, you can afford a place that you want to live in with good logistics. You can afford a nice car. You can afford to take trips here and there, and afford to eat good food. And then from that point, it's honestly, I don't want to talk about how much I make, but getting to 100K was harder than doing the next milestone I had, which was more than that. A lot of people always say like the first X number is the hardest. And it's true because it's mainly your mindset. Like right now, I'm probably still profoundly retarded in a variety of ways. However, when I look back to my mindset when I was 18, it was like, damn, this guy was retarded and autistic. So,
how old are you, Austin, right now?
Yeah, so I'm 42. Back in the day when I'm almost 29. So
okay,
right on.
Right on.
Cool.
Right.
Cool.
About to wrap up.
We're coming up on the 2-hour mark. I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want to discuss?
I mean, let's maybe just give our final thoughts on, is dating dead in America? So let's just go around the horn, I guess. We'll start from Alex, top left. Just give a quick yes or no, and then maybe your final thoughts on it, and then we'll close it out.
I think yes and no, as much of a cop-out as that may sound. I think that for the bottom, I don't know, whatever percent, 50, 60% of guys who don't know cold approach, it's probably getting pretty close to dead. But they can still get into relationships. It's dead if they want to fuck a lot of new chicks, but if they want to be in a relationship, I think that's doable. For guys who know cold approach, I think it's probably the same. So if you have decent cold approach skills, I don't think it's gotten any better or worse, more or less. And for the guys at the top 0.1 who have like, Mr. Lucky POV, that dude, or someone like that who's got like a little angle, I think it's probably either equal or.
Dude, how much do you just want to trade lives with Mr. Lucky POV?
Pretty substantial amount. Yeah, pretty substantial amount. I would definitely be down with that.
Let's have A.G Hayden go next.
Sure. I'd say things are fine for getting laid. Like that's not really a problem, but you have to be more wary of like a girl being a piece of shit. Like you just got to be more wary of the chances that, like, I've had a number of friends who dated a girl that they fell very quickly in love, but she was like BPD or whatever. I think that kind of shit is very common, if not more so than a few years ago. And you just got to be careful of that. It's not hard to get laid, but if you get in a relationship with one of those chicks, they're just going to fuck you over. So that would be the concern for me.
Okay, right on. Austin, you next.
Yeah, I was just laughing because I thought it'd be funny if like Mr. Lucky POV just like is sitting on that couch and he's like, "What's up, guys? So in this video, we're gonna take a look at the no context, and like switches like that." My thoughts are that there's pros and cons, and literally you just have to weigh it out for yourself. And dating is one part of life, and there's other areas as well. So moving is more factors than just dating. I would also recommend everyone that's listening to download Air Visual. And yeah, the guy said has a small penis. It's not over for you. Learn how to make a girl squirt. Learn how to go down on her. Just be cool. And then yeah, but you may have some trouble in the retention side of things, but that's okay. I will say, outside the U.S., it depends where. U.S., the pros, hottest girls in the world come here. Other pro, girls work out here. In the U.S., we have the most unhealthy and the healthiest people in the world. Most of the world is just kind of like mediocre health. We're pretty good, but in the U.S., you either have it's more dichotomous. So you have the hottest girls in the world, the healthiest girls in the world. What else? Femininity is a con. That women in America are less feminine. However, another pro, they're super witty, expressive. You can connect with them better, especially if you're from America. So there's a cultural familiarity. And then outside the U.S., more femininity. Different countries, the girls are more down to share you and be bisexual and have harems and threesomes. Yeah, and it depends on what you want. At the end of the day, the one guy said he wants more just basic relationship content. To be honest, some of the happiest times of my life is just when I have one girl that I really like, I really care about. And we're just she's feminine, I'm my masculine self, she's her feminine self, and we just kind of interact, and it's beautiful. That's the purpose. I think a lot of this stuff, we're all kind of sex addicts in a certain way. So we're kind of on the extreme side of the spectrum, but you can learn a lot from the extremes. But I'd say for everyone, just find, go through the game process. I'd say bang 20, 30 girls, learn how it's done, maybe even 50. I don't know. If you want to be a complete sex addict, that's fine. But yeah, just bang some girls, get the hang out of it, and then be in a place where you're somewhat abundant, and then choose the best option for you out of that. And yeah, have a good relationship. And eventually have kids so we can repopulate Japan.
Right on. Yes. We need to repopulate Japan for sure.
Because, dude, they're trying to fuck squids.
They probably do fuck squids, man. No, that's terrible over there, dude. So more. I can chime in on that because Austin, you probably don't know this, but I said I'm half Japanese. I was actually half raised there, so I'm very familiar with Japan. I can speak the language, everything. So Tokyo more specifically, huh?
Watashi wa kakoi.
Okay, so you said you're beautiful and I'm cool. Right? I mean, thank you for calling me beautiful. But anyway, so my thoughts on this, again, I'm kind of biased because I consider myself a full-time traveler. I'm a very nomadic person. Even when I was in the US, even in the same city, I just couldn't stay in the same spot for too long. I think, life is an adventure, and if life is an adventure, then you should go out and travel the world. And I think it's fucking awesome. I know it's not for everybody, but if you're that type of person that you feel like you just shouldn't be sedentary in your one spot, you should just go YOLO it and travel. That's the happiest I've ever been in my life. And even though I'm in the US now and I enjoy it here, I can't wait to travel again. So I think a lot of times your dating life is going to be a reflection of, how you feel internally about yourself, you living the life that you're meant to be living. So if you're the type of person that likes to travel, automatically, I think your dating life is just going to be a lot better when you travel. One, because you like traveling, and then two, just from an SMV and stuff standpoint. Because even if you go to another first world country, let's say Japan or South Korea or even Australia, it doesn't matter. You're automatically going to be more interesting because you're the foreigner, right? So, and it's natural for you to reach out to hang out with people more because you don't know anybody, and it's a really good growing experience. I just think it's great. I think traveling's fucking awesome. So anyway, any last words, anybody? Or I want to try to finish this before the 2-hour mark. Yeah, go ahead.
Why does 2 hours matter? Who cares?
Because it's going to be more likely people are going to watch it on the repeat if it's an hour 59 or whatever.
It's not a huge deal. We don't need to be ADD about it. It's fine.
So can I answer these questions? First, this guy says won't work for sub 5, which I literally learned about today listening to your wheat waffles debate. So yeah, he had 3 categories. It's Chad, then normie, and then sub 5. So the thing is, he says won't work for sub 5. So that basically is a self-fulfilling prophecy that you won't, if you're saying that the outcome is impossible to get, you're not going to take the action that would be necessary to do the outcome. And ultimately take third-party perspective. Do you want to sit in a chat room all day and talk to other guys about this theory and compare your theories? Or do you want to at least try? Like at the end of my life, I'm going to say like, the things that I wanted, at least I tried, right? At least I went after it. And I did get a lot of what I want. The next guy says, Austin, are you concerned about the amount of EMFs coming out of the AirPods? I actually have an EMF tester. And if you put it next to it, it's actually quite low. Also, the Earth is an EMF. Like the whole reason we are alive is because of the EMFs emitted from the planet. He says it's like having a Wi-Fi router in your ears. It is not. I actually have an EMF tester, and you can actually test this yourself. I've done it. I actually did it once wrong because I put it next to my phone. But if you put it away, it's actually quite low.
We're coming up. Oh fuck, we missed it. Never mind.
Okay. That's okay. No worries. We can still keep talking now. That
like an extra ad break or something.
No, it's just.
No.
I don't want to.
Actually, you know who I learned this from? I actually learned this from Wheat Waffles of all people. So when I debated,
well, he's a gold mine of great advice. So
no, but in terms of YouTube advice,
you may have a fair point. He's very good at YouTube, although
exactly.
This guy says
he found a great niche.
Pussy eating is small dick activities. I love eating pussy because I crave it. I just like want to fucking, and I can make girls come so easily with like eating them out. It's like, it's nice. I like it. It feels good. She feels good. It's like sexual. It's just amazing. So I don't understand this. Like people take things too out of perspective. Like, I'll never go down on a girl. That's a fucking beta. Fucking. It's like, what? How about like you get turned on by like eating pussy?
Yeah. It's a pretty strange thing to like pussy.
Can you stop?
Hey, Alex got some receipts going.
You got Rigger all riled up.
Yeah. I think we can end it there, guys.
We can end it.
Yeah. Oh, cool. So thanks so much, Austin, for coming on. I mean, we'd love to have you as a regular.
I sorry if I talk too much this time. I'm like,
dude, it's
so
fine,
sleep
man.
deprived that I am like hallucinating.
Dude, it's cool if you talk a lot, if you have interesting things to say, which you did. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome. Cool, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Check out Avery's channel. Check out Kevin's channel. Check out Austin's channel.
We may post again one day.
Yeah. Subscribe to everyone's channel, and we're going to do another one of these next week. Let us know what you thought in the comments. All right, guys. Peace.
Later, guys.